I am Diane Lucas.
Hi, I'm Karen Deloach, and this is Love Letters.
Yes, welcome to Love Letters. Another week, another great episode. We will read again our letter senders all over the world. How are you, Miss Karen?
I'm doing so well. Thank you, Daniel Lucas. I'm so happy to be here with you again.
Yes, it's been a long time, Miss Karen and I. We did not do our episode, but now we resuming our regular platform. And today we will read a love letter. So this is the letter that we're gonna feature for today. Dear love letters, I'm reaching out to you because my heart feels both hopeful and lost. In this digital age where very connection begins with a tap, a like, or a swipe. I wonder if its true love still exists the way our parents and grandparents once knew it. I scroll through endless profiles, all polished and perfect, yet I can't make or shake the feeling that behind the photos and carefully chosen words lies uncertainty, hesitation, or sometimes just an illusion. How do I know what's real anymore? Sometimes conversations feel exchanged at first, full of promise, but soon they fade like a message left unseen. I can't help but I ask myself, am I just another click, another option, or is just someone out there who feels see before who truly am? I long for a deep, meaningful connection. The kind where the two people talk for hours, not just about the easy things, but about their dreams, fears, and the parts of life that are not always picture perfect. Yet in this world of fast replies and even faster goodbyes, that feels harder to find. Friends told me to keep trying, that the right one will come along. But each time a connection ends abruptly, I feel a little more hesitant, a little more guarded. How do I keep my heart open when rejection seems to come with the territory of a digital love? I wonder if a true love today requires us to uncertain or unlearn the patterns of instant gratification. Maybe it's about patience, listening, and being present, even that it means stepping away from the screens. But how do how do I do that when the entire world seems to meet and fall in love online? Perhaps love is not just about the platform at all. Maybe it is about the intention behind every message, every call, and every moment spent confusion. If true love is something I'm supposed to search for, or something I must simply let find me. That's why I'm writing two love letters because I believe there are voices wiser than mine, stories deeper than mine, and experience that can light the way. Maybe your listeners who have walked this path before can share the lessons I can't yet see. I'm asking from one heart to another how to find true love in this digital world. What signs should I look for to know it's real? How do I trust when trust feels so fragile through a screen? So here I am, vulnerable, searching the still hopeful. To all who are listening, please share your guidance, your stories, and your truth because maybe together Through these letters and conversations, we can rediscover the love, real, deep, and lasting, still possible, even with this modern age. Yours truly, Ashley.
Wow. That is a very powerful letter for sure. And I think it's relevant. Like you were saying at first, Daniel, that this is what a lot of people are experiencing right now, especially the young people. It's a hard, brave new world, so to speak. And the truth is we're scared of AI, and is it taking over people's personalities? Who is real? What is real? How do we know it's real? And
Mm.
these are really relevant questions. And it's true. I am of the older generation, and I've experienced the reality of meeting and falling in love in person. And it's still an imperfect way to do it. There were still a lot of people that didn't succeed in a relationship, even though they didn't meet online.
Yes.
And yet I know some people that have met online and have very long and successful relationships together. So it's not like there's one answer, that there's one right way to meet somebody. But I think that there's some insights that Daniel and I can share because we're Christian believers. And this longing that you're feeling, Ashley, you're not alone with it. We want to connect with people on a deeper level than the superficial. Yes, we can be attracted to the way someone looks, but looks change. Trust me, I'm in my 70s. I don't look the same as when my husband married me 35 years ago. So there is a reality to being loved that isn't just on the surface. And that longing that I hear in this voice, in your voice in this letter, touches me deeply, because I truly believe it's a God-sized need in your heart. That this deep spiritual part of you is longing for more than a superficial connection, and I think that's a good thing. And I know that this is something that is in you because it's supposed to be in you. And what I have found in a long, long experience, and I've had successful relationship. Before that, I had an unsuccessful relationship. So I've experienced both sides of it. And I know that what it takes to really, truly connect is including the spiritual side of your humanity. Because like you said, we aren't perfect. We don't want perfect. We don't want AI perfect. We want real, natural human beings. We want to be accepted for who we are, warts and all, so to speak. We want to be accepted and loved for who we are. So, how do you connect? Can you do it online? What do you think, Daniel?
Yes, we can do online, but be careful, people. Be careful. And thank you for the note or for this letter, Ashley. You're such an honest, which is you are experienced right now. Most of the people, especially the millennials, your vulnerability speaks to the very heart of what so many people feel today. Caught between hope and hesitation in search for true love. You're not alone in this, right, Miss Karen? You're not alone.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And as we sit here in relationships that are succeeding, we can tell you that it is a road. The good, bad, the ugly is always a road when we're going to travel with someone else. It's hard enough to be in agreement with yourself all the time, let alone another person. And with all of these profiles and all of these sites that list your favorite activities, list your hobbies, list your dreams and desires, and try to match people that way, when we want it to happen naturally, right? um,
Yes.
and yet it doesn't feel very natural. One of the things I like about digital dating is that it removes part of the um, presence of of sexual tension, so to speak, and you when you are getting to know someone and asking questions and getting asked questions and answering as truthfully as you know how, it starts with you willing to be vulnerable and sharing yourself, and it doesn't take very long to find out if the other person is willing also. And you can feel it, you can know when, wow, I'm barking up the wrong tree, I'm on a dead end here, this is not going anywhere, and you don't have to take any more time. Every human being has worth, and that is what you're trying to look for. And I think the first goal should be seeking friendship.
Yes,
That
friendship.
friendship is a great way to start any kind of relationship, because even, the long-term marriage, it's your friendship that is a part of the glue in your marriage, is this deep abiding joy of just being together, because you're friends, you're good friends, you want to share everything with each other, you want to share the good, the bad, and the ugly with each other, and you're loved, even if you aren't because you aren't even perfect and they're not perfect, and you found a way to love each other anyway. So that's the goal. And I think that maybe, Ashley, if you backed off of I gotta find true love and just said, I'm gonna try to find a true friend. And
Mm.
you can see when you connect with someone, and they're laughing with you when you're laughing. They're crying with you when you're crying. They're relating to what's going on in your world, and you're relating to what's going on in theirs. And you can start with friendship, because friendship is an endearing quality that of extreme worth, whether it's in a circle of friends that you love and trust each other, whether it's in a very personal relationship that is one on one. And I think if you can be good friends, then other things can develop. What do you think?
Yes, actually, true love in digital worlds is absolutely possible, but it often requires patience and shift in perspective. Technology is just a tool. It's not just a destination, but the real magic lies how you use it. When you connect with someone, focus less on the polished photos or witty bios, don't you think, Miss Karen? And more of the consistency of their actions. Don't do they make time for you, or do they follow through on what they say?
Mhm.
Do their words and behavior align over time? I think that these are the quiet signals of sincerity.
You talked in your letter about having patience, and I think that that is something that works both ways: patience with yourself and patience with someone else. And if you are walking in truth, in honesty, in integrity, in authenticity, then there is a place that is is open to someone else to share their vulnerabilities, their authenticity. If you share a story and they can relate, or they have something they can answer back from their life, then now you're making connections. And it can start very, very unpressurized as a friendship. And I think that that's important. I really do. Um, what's relevant to you, you find out, is it relevant to them? If it's not, then you may be misconnecting, and this just may be somebody that you can just connect with as another fellow human being, and not the answer to your heart's dreams of the one and true one person that you're going to spend the rest of your lives loving. And I can tell you honestly that my husband and we began our relationship as friends. We met in church. We were part of a singles group. I had been going through a divorce. He had a huge changes in his life he was going through as he became a Christian. And we were a little older than other singles, but we connected as friends, and we were friends for over 3 years. before anything
Yes.
else happened between us. Now, I have to admit, as a woman, I definitely had deeper feelings for Jer before he had those for me. He was very scared. I had two little boys, and he had never been a parent, and so I came as a package deal, and and God spoke to his heart and said, "You're not her sister, and she's not your I mean, she's not your sister, and you're not her brother." And that was an indication to him that God had really called us to have something more than just friendship. It still was a scary step, and he's a very brave man, and we've had an incredible walk together. Not only did he help me raise my two children, we had two children of our own, and they're now grown, and we have grandchildren, and so there's
Yes.
kinds of rewards. And so, Ashley, when you talked about having patience, I think that we were later in life. We weren't young people when we connected, and so it's not too late. And I'm saying this to you, not letting that time factor uh, put pressure on you, or here have your biological clock ticking, because that can put pressure on you. And you want to just be able to find people online. It doesn't have to be one at first, that you can enjoy. Maybe create a group or get involved in some of the online groups that are in sharing interests that you have. You like mountain climbing, like my nephew did. He loved mountain climbing, and he got on groups with mountain climbing, and he found his forever wife through the mountain climbing online group chats. Okay, and they found that they both loved mountain climbing. They met first mountain climbing groups, and were completely drawn to each other and got to know each other, and started out as friends, and they've now been happily married for about 10 years and have two little boys together. So I think that there's ways to go about this, even digitally, even in this more modern age, of finding friendship and relationships that are more than just about appearances.
Definitely, Ashley, remember that love does not have happen instantly. In fact, it is often the slow, steady connections that glow roots deep enough to last, just like Miss Karen talking about that they met through church and their foundation is so solid because the foundation is coming from Christ. A steady connection that grow roots deep enough to last. It's okay to take your time, for sure, to step back when a conversation doesn't feel right. It's a matter of give and take, and to wait for someone who values depth as much as you do. And also, don't under, underestimate meeting people offline.
Right.
Yes, not only online, offline too. Please consider that.
Absolutely. And this idea of connecting based on something you have in common. For me and Jarrett was, yeah, we were hungry for the things of God. And even though we were older than a lot of the other people, we were sincere. And I could see that. And that's what I fell in love with first, was a man who had a heart after God. And he's not perfect. He never has been. And he doesn't expect me to. And that was very huge. That was a huge healing thing for me, to be accepted just as I am. I'd never had that experience before in my life. I'm an actor, and I felt like I always had to be performing and being an actor. And I think a lot of people feel that way online. Like if I just present my best foot forward all the time, I think dating can be a false way to get to know somebody too, because on a date, you're dressed in your best clothes, being your bet on your best behavior. You're not really showing each other how do you react when you're driving. Do you holler at other drivers? Do you honk your horn? You find out how people really are when you're in experiences other than dating. That can put a lot of pressure on a relationship. But what if you met because you both love bowling, or your parents love bowling, and you thought, well, let's go try it, and you both have fun, having gutter balls or whatever, just finding an activity that is fun to do, even as a group.
Yes.
Don't be afraid to try things that include other people at first, especially.
Yes. And lastly, most importantly, protect your spirit by staying true to who you are. The right person will not require you to perform, pretend, or hide. They will appreciate your openness, your quirks, your journey. Until then, don't lose hope. Yes, don't lose hope. Each connections, even the fleeting ones, is teaching you something about yourself and what is truly needed in love.
I remember when I was a young person in college, and I was reaching out to some another college student, and we went and we were just talking and talking, and afterwards I realized I really was doing all the talking, and he was a good listener, but I didn't know anything about him. And in the end, I felt really embarrassed about that time. Like, I was, like, almost dumping all my stuff on him, and he didn't share, and we never connected again, and it was that sense of, one-sidedness that I think that, Ashley, you've experienced and why you're having trouble with trust. And when you work with finding people that have the same interests and maybe do some outings like Daniel said in person, but not just alone, but with maybe some other people that want like the same thing, then it takes so much pressure off, and you can be yourself and just try to enjoy the activity and being with other people and see what develops. Let it grow. Be patient and let it grow naturally. And I think a lot of times with what Ashley's describing in her letter of this digital age that feels so rushed, like we have to
Yes.
click and make a decision and pursue this, and it's really not necessary, and it isn't the best way, I think, to get to know people. And I've known a lot of people who have successful digital relationships. That's the way it started, but then it ended up being on the phone or with Zoom calls or, Google Meets, and getting to know each other and then meeting in person or meeting, in a neutral place. And if you are seeking a Christian, meeting in church, perhaps, we're going to the
Yes.
same church service or Bible study or conference. Those are different ways to do it as believers. And, this is when your heart starts connecting with someone whose heart is on the same path. And that's what we all want, really.
Yes. We want you to be happy, Ashley. So, Miss Karen and I advise you to be intentional, be patient, and be open. Love may not come with us why, but when it comes, does arrive. Whether through the screen, across the room, or you never know. Peace is authenticity it brings. And be happy with it. Be contented of what you are. Yes, Miss Karen. Final thought.
Yeah, and if you do have insecurities and fears and you find you're backing off, then start finding ways to deal with those issues before you're trying to connect with others.
Yes, indeed. And people, before we say goodbye, please do listen to our upcoming podcast with Miss Karen. Bible verse 101 coming at the end of this month. Saturday, that will be
September
September
20th.
28th.
20th.
Yeah,
Yes.
September 28th, people. We are live doing our Bible verse 101 after love letters. We will feed you the Word of God through Miss Karen and I. We're going to share our, well, best Bible verse. And I hope you will empower to it. So, Miss Karen, would you like to plug in something?
Oh, definitely. And, for Ashley and for all of our listeners, have grace for yourself to make mistakes, be forgiving, let yourself enjoy meeting new people and finding ways to be authentic with them.
Be authentic, people. Yes, Miss Karen, thank you so much for your time and more to come, people. See you soon.
Thanks. Bye bye.